everyone. Welcome to this new discussion. Feel free to click on the subscription button below to subscribe to my channel. Click also on the bell below to get notification of all the discussion I will be releasing, and feel free to share the video with others.
In this video, I'll be covering DTC's C0110, C0267 and C0268, ABS pump circuit malfunction. The schematics and procedures shown in this video are typical of most systems. Always refer to the manufacturer's specifications for the correct schematic. The ABS pump motor is an integral part of an ABS control unit assembly. Before testing, we need to understand how the system works. Let's have a look at a diagram. 12 volts is supplied to the ABS control module from the fuse box. Ground is supplied to the module direct from the chassis. The hydraulic pump is operated by a high-side driver within the ABS control module. When the ABS is activated, this driver is pulse width modulated to control pump speed and pressure. In some systems, the pump motor circuit can be controlled by a relay. Looking at the fault table, these DTCs are caused by a short to ground, an open or high resistance on the supply side, or an open or high resistance on the ground circuit. Verify the conditions under which the DTC runs. In this case, it's ignition on and vehicle speed higher than 16 km per hour or 10 miles per hour. If any of these DTCs are set, the control module would disable the traction control, electronic stability control and the anti-lock braking system, and illuminate the warning symbol on the instrument cluster. Thanks. To start the diagnosis, confirm the fault using a scan tool. If possible, check the parameters of the pump motor and actuate the component via the scan tool. This may save you time when diagnosing. This fault could be in the wiring, the pump motor or the control module. Before testing the circuit, check the battery voltage using a digital multimeter. Check the fuse, and if it's okay, move on to testing the circuit. A blown fuse will indicate excessive current flow in the circuit, possibly caused by a short to ground. Switch the ignition off and disconnect the control module harness connector and remove the fuse. Using the correct test leads, test for a short to ground on the supply line. To do this, set the meter to volts DC and connect one lead on the supply terminal at the connector and the other lead to battery positive. You should see 0 volts. If you have 12 volts, this will indicate a short to ground in the harness. If the fuse is intact, you'll need to test for an open circuit. Disconnect the harness connector. With the ignition on, connect the meter between the supply terminal at the ABS harness connector and chassis ground. You should have 12 volts. If there is 0 volts, there's an open circuit. Continue to test each connection, working back towards the fuse to isolate the fault. Seeing that the fuse is okay, you must confirm there is voltage at the fuse, and remember to check terminal tension. To test for resistance in the circuit, disconnect the ABS harness connector. Connect the meter between ground and the supply terminal at the ABS harness connector. If a reading of less than battery voltage is present, this will indicate excessive resistance in the circuit. To isolate the fault, continue to test each connection working back towards the fuse. If while testing, correct voltage is found after a connector, inspect the connector for corrosion and terminal tension. If the voltage at the fuse is low, the resistance is in the circuit to the fuse box. If voltage supply to the fuse is okay, confirm the fuse holder terminal tension is correct. If voltage supply tests okay at the ABS harness connector, check the module for corrosion and terminal tension. Disconnect the module harness connector. To check for an open on the ground circuit, put 1 meter lead on the ground terminal at the module connector and put the other lead on battery positive. You should see 12 volts. 0 volts will indicate an open circuit. If this was the case, repeat the test on the chassis ground connection. If 12 volts is now displayed, then the open circuit is in the harness. If 0 volts is still displayed, check the ground connection. A voltage reading on the ground circuit of less than battery voltage will indicate an excessive resistance. If this was the case, repeat the test on the chassis ground connection. If 12 volts is now displayed, then the resistance is in the harness. If the voltage is still incorrect, check the ground connection. If all circuits are confirmed okay, the only fault can be in the pump motor. That's the diagnosis of DTC's C0110, C0267 and C0268 pump circuit malfunction. Make sure you have an understanding of how the circuit works. Carry out your diagnosis systematically and note down your results. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Feel free to click on the subscription button below to subscribe to my channel. Click also on the bell below to get a notification of all the discussion I will be releasing, and feel free to share the video with others.